They say we're always surrounded by spirits, which means there could be ghosts around us right now. The biggest problem, though, is that we can't see them clearly, and maybe that's why we sometimes end up in places or houses where these spirits already reside. In this video, I'm going to share a story about one such building where a lot of people live, and there are plenty of folks around it too. He's happy, but just about that one house. This building isn't anonymous. It's just 2 minutes away from Shah Rukh Khan's house Mannat. In Bandra, I mean, think about it. Surrounded by so many people, there could be a neighborhood with a house that's haunted where a spirit lives. This is the story of a guy named Jitesh who moved into that lavish house in Bandra, and that's when all the weird stuff started happening. What were those incidents? We're going to talk about that today. But before we dive into this video, let's get into some horror and mystery. Hey everyone, make sure to subscribe to this channel for historical videos. Seriously, I want to share all my horror stories with 1 million people. Plus, I know you guys love me a lot, so please hit that subscribe button and share my videos with your friends. Now let's get into the story. In Mumbai, there are really 2 things that are super famous: the traffic and the rain. So guys, if someone needs to move during the rainy season and they find a sea-facing flat, they'd totally freak out because sea-facing flats are super expensive here. When Jitesh first came to check out this place, he saw it was a sea-facing flat and the weather looked really nice too. It felt cozy and he just loved it. So Jitesh used to live in Gujarat with his parents and wife, but seeing the situation, they decided to move to Mumbai to establish and expand their business. Jitesh had his own business and his wife and dad were also involved. They were usually out working, which meant Jitesh's mom was often home alone. He also had a younger brother, and honestly my family wasn't doing too well. He felt like everything was fine. We would sit together for dinner every day, and there were no financial problems. We always went for long walks or drives at night, so everything seemed good. He was standing there, talking to his wife about all this, but behind him was a guy who was thinking about how to ruin him. Honestly, that guy wasn't even a real person. He had stumbled into a place where something was lurking that definitely didn't want him to succeed, just wanted to see him fail. She really was a soul. There was this one time when Karen, who was actually Jitesh's little brother, was sitting in his room doing a live stream while gaming. His mom kept calling him from behind, and he was getting really annoyed. He was like, "I'm so irritated, I can't focus on my game." So he got up and went outside, shouting at his mom, "Hey, I'm playing a game. I'm live right now in front of everyone." Karen felt like his mom didn't get it at all. She's not giving it, but there's someone else in the room right now. Just ignore him for now. So, around 8 p.m. when everyone was sitting at the dinner table, he told Jitesh, "Look, this is what's been happening to me." Then Jitesh started laughing really loudly and said, "Playing games has messed with your head. You should pay a bit more attention to your normal life and step back from the games. Nothing like that can happen." After saying all that, they just brushed it off. But that same night, Karen went back again. He was getting really bored playing games in his room, and suddenly, out of nowhere, he got a super chat saying someone was sitting on his bed. He ignored it at first, but then everyone in the chat started freaking out, asking who was on his bed, if it was some unknown relative. Another super chat came in, asking him to check it out. So, Karen turned around, and sure enough, there was a guy standing on his bed who looked pretty dangerous and definitely not alive. It's like he wasn't scared of anything. He could do whatever he wanted here. But before he could even think about doing something, that guy just vanished. He got really freaked out, but still didn't turn on his stream because that dude didn't look good on camera, just a glimpse of him. Then the next morning, he told his whole family that he saw a guy standing over his bed at midnight. And at that moment, Jitesh actually said something like, "I gotta tell you." Jitesh didn't want to say anything, but he mentioned that late at night, he saw a guy wandering around in his room. He thought he was just really tired, so he brushed it off. After that incident, there were a lot of fights between Jitesh and his family. It was like every day there was some kind of argument, someone was falling sick, or someone had to go to the hospital. They were even making trips to the police station. It all became really overwhelming for them, and their financial situation took a hit too. Things were getting really bad, and it wasn't just that there were fights among their family members. There were also fights between Jitesh and his wife. Because of this, Jitesh's wife ended up leaving the house with his parents. So now, it was just Jitesh and his brother Karan living in that house. For a long time, it felt like every day someone was walking outside their room, but there was nobody there. Gradually, Karan also moved out because he had to go to another state for his studies. Jitesh was living all alone in that big house now. Every day, he would go to the office, do his work, come home, and crash. But every single day, he still felt that loneliness, or maybe it was something else. Who knows? It was like he could hear his family's voices in the house. It felt like his mom was calling him, his dad was calling him, his wife was calling him, his brother was calling him. But whenever he went out into the rooms to look for them, no one was there. They were all just asleep inside. There was always a knock at the door. He used to just run away after dropping something, always sleeping inside his room. You could hear someone running around outside, shouting sometimes. Occasionally, Jitesh felt like he had made a mistake coming to this fancy house with a sea view. Even though it looked great, he wasn't happy at all. It seemed like there was someone in the house who didn't want to see him happy. It had been a long time since anything happened. The watchman had come by once to drop off a parcel, knocking and ringing the bell, but no one answered. After getting help from a few people, the watchman said he opened the door, and when he did, he found Jitesh's dead body lying right there, completely burned. That's Jitesh's story. And guys, let me tell you, we had to dig deep to find this story online. If you actually search for this building, called the Banra Haunted Building, you'll find links and stuff about it. There are already articles written about it. But this story, the real story, is something else. We dug really deep to find this out, and I want to share something special about this building. This building is actually built on top of a graveyard, like literally, it used to be a graveyard. When they started construction on this building, there were all sorts of issues. Almost every day, a construction worker would die, and they kept changing contractors. Nothing was going smoothly, and it took many years for this building to finally get built. When this building was finally finished, people found out it was haunted. A lot of its rooms have a spooky vibe, and many folks come here and end up taking their own lives, no matter how much money they have. The spirits of the dead in the nearby cemetery are said to roam here, along with the souls of workers who died on the site. They say that no matter how luxurious a house looks from the outside, it might not be so great inside. It can be pretty terrifying. This is terrifying, and guys, Jitesh's family had to go through all of this too. Jitesh himself went through it, and to this day, no one knows what really happened. All they found was his burned body in his room. Before this video ends, I want to tell you something. No matter how fancy a house looks from the outside, always think about its history before you step inside. Because if you're watching this video on your phone while sitting in a house like that, you need to be aware of what happened there. You might be watching this video with someone around you, but let me make one thing clear. Spirits don't hang out in our space. We're in theirs. They've been here for thousands of years, and we're the ones intruding, causing them trouble. If they start causing us trouble in return, you're going to be scared. So, it's better to learn about the history of that area. Otherwise, anything could happen to you. Maybe